Y'all ever get the feeling something ain't right? If you want to uncover more secrets, don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all ever get the feeling something ain't right? Like the world we see, it ain't the whole picture? We see these celebrities, these icons shining bright under the spotlight. But what if I told you some of them, they got secrets, dark secrets hiding in plain sight? Secrets that'd make your hair stand on end. This ain't no conspiracy theory, folks. This is about the underbelly, the grit, the raw power of a world most folks never knew existed. It all started with the first king, Elvis Presley. The king of rock and roll had a secret passion. He was drawn to the raw, primal energy of underground fighting. Away from the glitz and glamour, he found solace in the ring. He was more than just a performer. He was a fighter. This ain't about the music, folks. This is about the man behind the mask, the fighter beneath the glitter. And just like Elvis, Michael Jackson had his own secret. If you want to uncover more secrets, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more revelations. Michael Jackson, a fighter? That don't sound right. But they never saw him move like I did. Those weren't just dance moves, folks. That was art. Deadly art. Michael trained, honing his body and mind. Those moves became his weapons, the chance to prove himself. Now, this African martial art, it wasn't like nothing you ever seen. It was fluid like water, unpredictable like the wind. It used an opponent's strength against them, turned their own power into their downfall. And Michael, he mastered it. He took those ancient techniques and blended them with his own style, his own charisma. He was like a panther in the ring, graceful, silent, deadly. One minute he'd be moving like smoke, the next he'd strike with the speed of a cobra. Those dance moves, they weren't just for show anymore. They were feints, distractions, setting his opponents up for the kill. Word of Michael's skills, they spread through the underground like wildfire. People, they came from all over to witness the legend firsthand. And let me tell you, they weren't disappointed. Word started spreading through the underground. Whispers in dark corners, hushed conversations in smoky back rooms. Michael Jackson, the pop star, was fighting. And he wasn't just fighting, he was winning. Now, most folks wouldn't believe it. Figured it was just a rumor, a tall tale spun by folks who'd had one too many. But the ones in the know, the ones who'd seen the darkness in the heart of the world, they knew different. See, Michael, he started small. Didn't want to draw attention to himself, not at first. He took on names nobody knew, fighters hungry for a break, desperate for a win. But the minute he stepped into that ring, something changed. It was like a switch flipped inside him. The Music Man disappeared and the Predator emerged. Those early fights, they were brutal. No rules, no mercy. Just two men locked in a cage, fighting for survival. But Michael, he thrived on it. Every punch he dodged, every kick he landed, it fueled the fire in his belly. He was proving himself, one fight at a time. Section 2, the Velvet Hammer. Now Michael, he wasn't the biggest fella in the ring, but what he lacked in size, he made up for in speed and agility. It was like watching a ghost move. He'd slip punches by a hair's breadth, slide under hooks like he was made of smoke. And those kicks? Lightning fast, precise, hitting pressure points with pinpoint accuracy. Folks started calling him the Velvet Hammer. He was smooth, almost gentle in his movements. But the power behind him, it was something else entirely. One minute he'd be dancing around his opponent, the next, he'd unleash a flurry of blows that'd leave him seeing stars. And those dance moves? They weren't just for show anymore. That moonwalk? It was a way to control the distance, to lure his opponents in close. The anti-gravity lean? That was all about balance, about shifting his weight so he could strike from any angle. Section 3, Dance of the Cobra. The more Michael fought, the more confident he became. He started incorporating more of his personality into his fights. He'd taunt his opponents, moving like he was on stage, using his footwork and his charisma to get inside their heads. And the crowd, they loved it. Word of Michael's fight started spreading beyond the underground. Celebrities, they flocked to see him fight. Musicians, actors, athletes, they all wanted a piece of the action. And Michael, he never disappointed. He fought every fight like it was his last, pouring his heart and soul into every move. There was this one fight, I'll never forget it. Michael, he was up against this behemoth of a man, twice his size, built like a brick wall. Everyone thought Michael was done for. But then the bell rang, and something incredible happened. Michael, he transformed. He moved like a cobra, striking fast and deadly, using the big man's weight against him. Section 4. A Star is Born, in Blood and Glory. It was a ballet of violence, a dance of death. The crowd, they were on their feet, roaring with every punch, every kick. And then, just when it seemed like the fight would never end, Michael, he found an opening, a spinning heel kick straight to the jaw. The big man, he went down like a sack of potatoes. The crowd went silent for a heartbeat, then erupted in a frenzy. Michael had done it again. He'd defied the odds, proven that size and strength weren't everything. From that day forward, Michael Jackson wasn't just the king of pop. He was the king of the underground, the champion of the hidden world. His legend, it spread far and wide, whispered in hushed tones, a secret shared amongst those who knew the truth. The truth about the man behind the mask, the fighter beneath the glitter. Michael Jackson, the secret MMA champion. Now, Michael, he wasn't alone in this world. The underground MMA scene drew in folks from all walks of life. Celebrities were drawn to the thrill, the anonymity, the chance to test their mettle. But they weren't fighting for fame or fortune. Down here, they were fighting for something primal. Word got around that Prince was a force to be reckoned with, a master of capoeira, moving like liquid lightning. He called himself the Shadow, hiding his face behind a purple bandana. Then there was Madonna, the Material Girl. She brought that same fire to the ring, practicing Muay Thai, using her elbows and knees like weapons. Prince, he was an enigma, even down here. He'd show up out of nowhere, quiet as a whisper, then disappear just as fast. But when he fought, it was like watching a storm unfold. He was all speed and precision, every move calculated, every strike delivered with deadly intent. They said he'd spent years training in secret, honing his body and mind to a razor's edge. Some whispered he had a sixth sense for danger, could anticipate his opponent's moves before they even made him. Truth or fiction, nobody dared to find out the hard way. One night I saw him take on a fella twice his size, a mountain of muscle with a mean right hook. Everybody thought Prince was done for, outmatched, outgunned. But then the music started, that funky bass line filling the air, and Prince, he just started moving. Madonna, she was something else. Tough as nails, never backed down from a challenge. She favored Muay Thai, the art of 8 limbs. And let me tell you, she used every one of them. Elbows, knees, fists, feet. They were all weapons in her hands. Her fights, they were always a spectacle. She'd come out in these outrageous outfits, all fishnets and leather, with this look in her eye that could curdle milk. Guys, they underestimated her, thought she was all show, no substance. Big mistake. I remember one fight, she was up against this young buck, all cocky and confident, thought he was going to make a name for himself by taking down the Material Girl. He came out swinging, trying to end it quick, but Madonna, she was too quick, too smart. Now, the fights that really got folks talking, the ones that had the whole underground buzzing, were the ones where these titans clashed. Prince and Michael, they went head-to-head more than once, two forces of nature locked in a dance of death. Those fights were legendary. Folks talking about them to this day. The energy in the room, it was something else. You could feel the tension, thick as smoke, as those two legends sized each other up. The crowd, they were on their feet, screaming themselves hoarse, caught up in the moment. It was a clash of styles, a battle of wills. Michael, he was all fluidity and grace, moving like water, striking like a snake. Prince, he was all speed and power, a whirlwind of limbs, a blur of purple and black. Michael's reputation, it spread like wildfire through the underground. Each victory, a stepping stone, leading him higher and higher in this secret world. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. He was fighting for something bigger, something he couldn't even explain. He fought veterans, scarred and seasoned, men who'd faced down death in 100 different forms. He fought up-and-comers, hungry and ambitious, eager to make their mark by taking down the king. but none could match his speed, his precision, the sheer artistry of his movements. The bigger the fights got, the more pressure was on Michael. The world thought they knew him, the pop star, the entertainer. They had no idea about the fire that burned within him, the warrior's heart beating beneath that sequined glove. What amazed folks most wasn't just Michael's skill, but his style. He moved like a dancer, a phantom in the ring, his footwork confounding opponents twice his size. Those iconic dance moves, the moonwalk, the anti-gravity lean, they weren't just showmanship down here. They were weapons. The moonwalk, it was all about control, dictating the pace, luring opponents into traps. The anti-gravity lean, that was about balance, about defying expectations, about striking from angles nobody saw coming. And then there were the kicks, lightning fast, precise as a surgeon's scalpel, targeting pressure points with pinpoint accuracy. 1 minute he'd be dancing around his opponent, toying with him. The next, he'd unleash a flurry of blows, a whirlwind of fists and feet, leaving them dazed and confused, wondering what the hell just hit him. But the night that truly cemented Michael's legend, the night folks still whisper about in hushed tones, was the night he faced Prince. Word had spread for weeks about the fight. Two icons, two forces of nature, clashing in the ultimate showdown. The energy in the arena that night, it was electric. The bell rang, and the world held its breath. It wasn't just a fight, it was a ballet of brutality, a masterpiece of martial artistry. Michael moving like a phantom, all grace and fluidity. Prince, a whirlwind of purple and black, all speed and aggression. Back and forth they went, round after round, neither man given an inch. The crowd was on its feet the whole time, caught up in the spectacle, the sheer improbability of it all. But even victory comes at a price. Years of fighting, they took their toll. Michael, he carried the scars, both physical and emotional. He became more withdrawn, more guarded, a shadow of the carefree young man who'd first stepped into the ring. The pressure, the secrecy, it wore on him. The world saw the king of pop, the entertainer, but they didn't see the man behind the mask, the warrior who fought his battles in the shadows. He'd reached the pinnacle of two worlds, but at what cost? That's the question that haunted him, the burden he carried with him always. In the end, Michael Jackson walked away from the fight game. He retreated back into the world of music, the world that knew him as a star, not a warrior. But the legend of the Velvet Hammer, it lived on. Whispered in hushed tones, a secret shared amongst those who knew the truth. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, he showed the world the power of music, the magic of dance. But Michael Jackson, the secret MMA champion, he showed a select few something else entirely. He showed them the strength of the human spirit, the will to fight, the courage to face down your fears and emerge victorious. And that, my friends, is a legacy that will never die. We thought we knew him, y'all. The shy smile, the dazzling footwork, the voice that soared like an angel's. But Michael, he was always holding back a part of himself. Beneath that single white glove beat the heart of a warrior. He wasn't just an entertainer, he was a fighter, through and through. This revelation, it ain't about tarnishing a legacy. It's about understanding the complexity of a man who defied definition. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, he'll forever be remembered for his music, his artistry, the joy he brought to millions. But now, we gotta reckon with the fact that there was another side to him, a side he kept hidden from the world. Maybe this changes things. Maybe it deepens our appreciation for his talent, for his ability to compartmentalize, to live multiple lives with such conviction. Or maybe it simply adds another layer of mystique to an already enigmatic figure. Whatever your truth, one thing's for sure, Michael Jackson's story just got a whole lot more interesting. We may never know the full extent of Michael's involvement in the underground fight game. Some secrets, they're best left buried, whispered in the shadows, shared only amongst those who were there. But the fact that it existed at all, that this other life unfolded parallel to the one we thought we knew, it speaks volumes about the man himself. Michael Jackson, he was a master of illusion, a weaver of dreams. He understood the power of image, of storytelling, of crafting a narrative that resonated with the deepest desires and fears of the human heart. And maybe, just maybe, that's what this whole underground fighting thing was all about. Another layer to the myth, another chapter in the legend. A secret kept hidden until just the right moment, a final twist in a story that continues to fascinate and confound. So, next time you hear the strains of Billie Jean or find yourself moving to the beat of Thriller, remember this: there was more to Michael than we ever knew. Behind the music, behind the dance moves, behind the mask, there was a fighter. And that fighter, he changed the world in ways we may never fully comprehend. The king is gone, but the dance continues.